Hey, hope how we doing? Good to see you all. Welcome back to Premier League Dad. We are live yet again for another big 2 nights in Europe. Tonight we're dealing with Aston Villa against BSC Young Boys. The lineup's just coming out there now. Players very, very close. It's nearly kick-off. Why is it so late? Kick-off. Thought we'd be a bit closer along. Yeah, I thought we'd be kicked off by now. Must have been a slight delay. Feyenoord and Celtic are off and underway. This one's not, though. This one's taking its sweet time. Plenty of other games tonight. League 2, Grimsby and Tranmere. Porto already 1-0 up against Nice in the first minute. AS Roma 0, Midtjylland 0, Fenerbahce 0, Ferencvaros 0. Feyenoord against Celtic going to be a really big game. Lille Zagreb, Ludogorets, Celta Vigo, PAOK v Bran, Plitzen v Freiburg, and then all the games later tonight. Obviously, we'll still be doing Strasbourg against Crystal Palace. So what a game that's going to be. Plus Nottingham Forest Malmo we'll keep up to date on later, plus Rangers against Braga. But we're off and underway here at Villa Park. Marlon, I tell you what, there's a fast start and there's a claim for a free kick already. Not quite. Not quite. Not quite. No. Right, where are we? Match time. Come on, Key, where are we up to? 20 seconds. Right, Sam Matterface and Robbie Savage on comms. That's not ideal, is it? Elsewhere in the Conference League, AZ Alkmaar Shells. AZ Alkmaar Shelbourne. Aberdeen playing later. We'll sort all that later. Let's just deal with what we've got to deal with right now. In terms of Villa, by the way, lineups we have for Villa, Martinez in goal, Bohada, Lindelof, Torres and Martin at the back. Midfield of Sancho, Onana, Tielemans and Gesand, and Marlon and Rodgers are the front two. I don't think it's quite going to look like that. Seems to be far more, maybe a 4-2. Rodgers probably in midfield, do you think? Maybe a 4-3-3. Rodgers in midfield with Onana and Tielemans, Gesand and Sancho a little bit further forward alongside Marlon. The way they've got it set up on here, on flash scores, is definitely not how it is, I don't think. Porto goal, says Lee. How's it going, Lee? Jake, hi, how are you? I'm good, mate, thank you. How are you? Good to see you. And then for Young Boys, by the way, it's Keller in goal, Hadjam, Benito, Zukru, Yanko, Saidi Yanko, ex-Man United at right back, Lauper, Ravalosen, Fastnacht, Pech, Males and Cordova, the big number 9 at centre forward. Sergio Cordova, the Venezuelan, following in Salomon Rondon's footsteps. Michael, Porto goal, yes. Porto goal already against Nice. That's shaping up to be a good game. But the main, I would say the main threat tonight for Villa to be aware of is, it could well be Cordova. Cordova's the main sort of centre forward for Young Boys, but he's not necessarily started his Young Boys career brilliantly. 4 goals in 12, which in the Swiss league, it's not fantastic. The best player, in my opinion, for Young Boys is a player who's been there for a long, long while. He actually had a spell in England at Norwich, Christian Fastnacht. He's 32 years of age. He's on fire this season for them domestically, but he's been at Young Boys most of his career. He had a brief spell at Norwich a couple of years ago, and he's come back to Young Boys now in the twilight of his career to spend his finite years in Switzerland. But very, very talented player. He's got 13 goals and assists in 13 games already this season. Technical Usman says, who is the stronger team, man? You've got to fancy Villa tonight. I think you've got to fancy Aston Villa tonight. Daniel Marlon as a main centre-forward does concern me, though, I've got to say. I don't rate Daniel Marlon. I know Villa are in a good position in the league, and Marlon has had a bit of a purple patch recently, but I'm not sure about him. I don't think he's a player that is going to stand out for Villa this season. I think they need better from a centre-forward if they are going to sort of seriously trouble the top places and maybe get Europe next season. What a strike that is, and what a save Who was it? And it was Donyell Marlin. He very nearly rammed that down my throat, didn't he? Donyell Marlin with a strike. Keller tips it over the bar. Poor from Young Boys, trying to get the ball clear. And it comes to Marlin about 30 yards out. Massive tip. Great strike. Flying into the top corner. And Keller with a big save. Unlucky. What do we think? What do we think of this one tonight? What do we think of the Palace game later? Let me know your thoughts. Whether you're on TikTok, Twitch, X, Twitter, wherever you are, YouTube. Ooh, is that going to be another corner? No, Onana. Nearly an early goal for Villa. Taylor, evening key. How's it going? Joe got the flu. Ooh. Yeah, not good. Got to be careful with that stuff, man. Cucho, 4-1 last night. Van Dijk and Salah look so past their best now as well. Disastrous tactics. Honestly, it isn't disastrous tactics. It's nothing to do with the tactics, mate. It's simple stuff. It's basics. It's the basics for Liverpool. It's nothing to do with the tactics. I'm telling you, the manager's so far beyond like the big issue here. Swifty, evening key, fell asleep last night when Liverpool PSV was 1-1. I can only imagine the live after. Yeah, it wasn't brilliant, mate. Oh, Villa are in here. Here's Gesand, 1-on-1, should score. Great defending from Young Boys. That's brilliant. Gesand really should have done better there, I think. He was 1-1, but he was on his weaker foot. He was on his left-hand side. I would have expected Gesand to make that pay there for Villa. Tolga, Aston Villa Young Boys, final 2-0. 2 double chances. What does that mean, Tolga? Tolga, you have to be clearer. Slovan Bratislava 1-0 against Rayo Vallecano. CFC Max, bet this guy wants Young Boys to win. Heard he's a massive fan. Always funny. Always funny. Cucho says, no way did I hear that. Hear what? Cucho, what has happened to Van Dijk, man? He looks so shit and brainless at the minute. What do you mean he looks so shit and brainless at the minute? Mate, he had a bad game last night. He had a bad game. WNL, yes, Key, best player in the Young Boys squad is who? I think Fastnacht. Yeah, Fastnacht is probably the one to... Fastnacht is the one to keep an eye on. Left side, left winger. Nicholas Siebert says, Wrexham. How did Wrexham get on last night? I didn't see. Wrexham against Bristol City. What happened? 2-0 win. Oh, well done. Nice. Feyenoord have gone 1-0 up against Celtic. Celtic losing. Swifty says, I watched the goals this morning. Canate terrible for the third. Mate, honestly, yeah. I can't tell you. It's not even just... Canate was poor for the third. But the second, Mo Salah it's so basic. And do you know what, again, people, for the second as well, people are blaming Kirkes, but it's really, really obvious, right? It's really obvious that if you've got Kirkes where he is, if you look, when the ball gets played in, everyone's criticising, saying, oh, Kirkes is the wrong side of his man. Kirkes has got two players. He's got two players to mark, because what's happening is Konate is shuffling over. It's like a domino effect. Konate is shuffling over, Van Dijk's then shuffling over to cover for Konate, and Kirkes is shuffling over to cover for Van Dijk, and it's leaving a spare man on Kirkes' side. So he had to be kind of in between the two to try and... If it had got goal side of the one that actually scored, there was one right behind him. The pass probably would have gone there, and he'd have been way off it. So I can't really blame Kirkes, because he's given far too much. He's being given far too much to do. He can't cover two men simultaneously. WNL says they won 2-0. Doesn't Van Persie manage one of the Dutch teams? He does, yes. He manages Feyenoord now. Thomas Ainsgo, you can't win every game, but Liverpool are trying. Well, no, listen, it's not about necessarily trying to win every game. We're clearly not trying to win every game. That's the problem. Swifty says Konate is playing like he already knows he's off. That's true. And Nostalgia Bunker, I really hope Liverpool win at the weekend to keep Arne at Liverpool. It's great to watch. Arne Slot absolutely needs to stay as Liverpool manager. I don't want him gone at all. We need to keep him and get rid of some players. It's nothing to do with Arne Slot. The players aren't giving anywhere near what they should. And honestly, it would infuriate me if we got rid of this manager. Because it would mean we've literally let 3, 4, maybe 5 players off the hook. And there's 4 or 5 who need to go. Kieran NUFC, Anfield Agenda said he must go. Anfield Agenda, I mean, I don't watch him. I'm surprised. I'm surprised anyone does, honestly. The guy talks out his arse. The guy's talking out of his arse, and evidently he's doing it for clicks and likes. That's all I can assume, because I've never known someone talk so much shite. Not Dan says, what's happened from last season? What's happened from last season? About 6 or 7 things that has derailed the squad. It's not just one thing. WNL says, did you see what Curtis Jones said about the situation? I did, yes, I did. Paul Slater, have you ever been to Anfield, or are you too busy to support your club financially by making money from them on YouTube? I've been all over the world watching Liverpool, mate, yeah. I've had a wonderful time watching Liverpool. I've travelled all over Europe watching us. I was at the Champions League semi-final in Rome not that long ago. I went over to Porto. I went over to Seville. I've been over to Anderlecht. I've been loads of places, absolutely loads of places over the years, travelling around Europe watching Liverpool. It's wonderful. Went to Liverpool about 2 years ago. Was it 2 years ago? Yeah, I've not been to Liverpool under Arne Slot. I've not been to Anfield. I can't go anymore. But I used to go many games. But yeah, I can't go anymore, mate, sadly. Hence why I've started this channel. But I watch us every single game. I've gone every single game as far back as I can remember, up until about 2 years ago. Fitzpatrick says Kirkes actually had a good game, but he was let down by his teammates. That's very, very true. I Am Crew says the Curtis Jones interview felt like a dig at the manager at points. Oh, well, I mean, I don't know. I didn't read it like that. Maybe it was, but I didn't read it like that. I thought of Curtis Jones was basically pointing out that the players, it's embarrassing that the players' work ethic is as bad as it is. So no, I didn't, personally I didn't see it that way. But again, maybe I'm wrong. It's Luke says, what are you clinging to with Slot? Is it not partly his job to get the players playing for him, the club? Valid point, Luke. Entirely valid point. But I feel like there's a basic level that you have to expect from players, and they're playing for a huge club. They're getting paid an inexorbitant amount of money. They need to be at least delivering the basics, and I feel like 4 or 5 of them have already decided they don't want to be at Liverpool next season, or they're expecting not to be at Liverpool next season. Therefore, they've downed tools to some degree, and that is why we are seeing plus a number of other things. I mean, look, when you're grieving. When you're grieving, there's nihilism, there's apathy, and it's understandable when that happens. You make mistakes, you maybe, your head's not entirely in it. I can understand that too. So that's a factor. That's one of 7 or 8 factors. Maybe it only contributes 1% to it, but it contributes something to it. It's certainly not the biggest reason. Paul Slater, why can't you go? Do you live too far away? Because you sound like you are from Bolton or somewhere. No, I'm nowhere near Bolton. No, I was born in Wiston. Grew up in St Helens. My dad's been going to Liverpool since 1972. I'm a 3rd generation Red. I was always going to be a Liverpool fan. So no, I'm literally 20 minutes away from Anfield. 20 minutes. I worked in Liverpool city centre as well for many, many, many years. Played in Liverpool as a kid when I was played football as a kid in Liverpool. I've grown up around, and many of my family are Scousers as well. Not that I have to justify that. If you're from Bolton or wherever, whatever, as long as you. But I don't know. Wherever you're from, I don't personally buy into the idea that you're more of a fan if you were born on the doorstep of Anfield. Are you more of a fan if you're closer to the ground, or are you not? I don't understand that. For me, it's down to commitment, but hey, to each their own, mate. You're free to believe how you want to believe, Paul. I think it's a little bit silly, but there you go, mate. Whatever works for you. WNL says, does us losing to PSV with 1 game to go slightly favour us with an easier draw than PSG last season? That's one way of looking at it, mate. Yeah, but I think we'd have rather beat PSV, wouldn't we? Josh, Keylad, do you think Chelsea are in a title race with us? No. No, Chelsea aren't in a title race. And I am Crute. If I'm Florentino Perez, I'm talking to Canate's agent about not signing him anymore. And Cucho says, Jones ain't wrong. Captain him. The coach has lost it. He's so predictable. What when you say he's predictable, in what way is he predictable? In what way is he predictable? And James Gallagher, not watching the Celtic game. We're getting beat. And Cucho says, Key, you wear a Speedo cap with a slot mask on County Road shouting slot in. Speedo Mick. Instead of Speedo Mick, Speedo Key. And Swifty, you've got... Oh, by the way, can I just say, because I got called out for this last night, right? I got called out for this last night and it was well embarrassing. I got people saying, nearly Young Boys 1-0. I got people saying, I've just heard Key fart. I've just heard Key fart on the live, right? They keep saying it. I've heard Key fart on the live, right? Now I'm not gonna deny I've probably done it at some point in the fucking hundreds of lives I've done over the time, but I'm usually very discreet. But what you actually heard was this. Yeah, that. I've got a floorboard creaking just underneath me here. And it's that, it sounds like a fart in fairness. But all that happened last night was at the wrong moment I was talking and I just went. So everyone was like, I've just seen Key farting. Lille 1, Dynamo Zagreb 0. And K Burke says, is Slot getting sacked? No. Joe says lots of fickle fans in here tonight. Absolutely. I am Crute. I'm losing it with Gakpo. He's Anthony with a few more goals. He just cuts inside and shoots. Listen, Gakpo was on about getting sold in the summer, and I think that's what we're seeing. Cody Gakpo, I think, has lost it a little bit. I think he's upset. I think he's frustrated by the fact that Liverpool are talking about selling him. Because we were on about selling him or Luis Diaz or both of them, and he was, I think, maybe a little bit frustrated about that because his form this season hasn't been great. It's been very patchy, but then again, so has everyone's. Spurs, hey Key, how's it going? It's Luke. If Slot was to go, who would you want? Iraola. Honestly, I've no interest in discussing it because I really don't want him to go, and I don't think he will go. I think the whole discussion is pointless, and I don't see anyone as a serious step up on Arne Slot. In fact, I don't see anyone as an improvement on Arne Slot. There's nobody that Liverpool could realistically go out there and get that is an improvement on Arne Slot. And even the ones that are an improvement, I wouldn't want them. You know, you look at like Carlo Ancelotti. Is Carlo Ancelotti a better manager than Arne Slot? Yeah, I think he is. But I want him? No. Pep Guardiola. Is he a better manager than Arne Slot? Yeah, he probably is. Would I want him? Could we get him? No. So, there's nobody that is simultaneously available better than Arne Slot that I would want. So no, I don't think it's even something Liverpool fans should be talking about. It's nonsense. Swifty says, Quenda looked good for Sporting last night. Another young winger for Chelsea. Absolutely, yeah. It's Luke, do you think he's there Monday if you lose at the weekend? I think he's done if you lose. You won't, but... well, we might do. Listen, we might do. But if... listen, at the end of the day, I'm not totally, like, pro-Slot. I am happy to criticise the guy if he keeps making the same mistakes with team selection. When we're talking about tactics and system, I actually don't think he's made any real errors, because system and tactics-wise, we have varied it up. We have mixed it up, haven't we? Like, you could criticise that. People keep saying, oh, your Arne Slot system doesn't work. What system are you talking about? He's changed it about 4 or 5 times during the season. So, like, you can't accuse the guy of being rigid and sticking to his... Like, it's not like Amorim. Amorim is literally stuck to the same thing and just carte blanche just keeps playing it. In spite of them losing. Liverpool haven't done that. Arne Slot has tried to change it multiple times. Like, we've played with a box 4. We've played with 2 up front. We've played with Florian Wirtz as part of a midfield 3. We've played with him out wide. We've changed it as much as I think we've feasibly been able to change it while having no right backs fit and all this other stuff. Mick92, good to see you. Tom, how was Slot not being sacked? Losing to PSV is another blow. No, you can't sack him. Cucho says, interim Klopp till World Cup, then Nagelsmann after the World Cup. No, Klopp, listen, Klopp, why would you want to hire Klopp? Why would you want to hire Klopp? He's literally told you he doesn't want to manage. He's told you he's tired and he doesn't want to manage. Why would you hire him? Honestly, it would be exactly the same with Jurgen Klopp, if not worse, because Klopp has told you he's tired and doesn't want to manage anymore. Why would you want to hire him back? It's nonsense. That is maybe the stupidest shout I've heard. Get Klopp back in. Absolute nonsense. Cucho, he must be an undercover United fan, doesn't want us to win. Yeah, alright, mate. Alright. It would be some commitment if I was secretly a United fan. That would be some commitment. Cucho says because he can handle egos. Well, not, he can't handle his own, evidently. Cucho, Van Dijk and Salah are bigger than Slot and they're acting like it. If Slot went, I'd take Stevie on an interim basis. Bit of passion in the dugout. Passion. Again, it's always the things people go to. Passion. We don't lack passion. Certainly not from the manager anyway. I don't really care about a manager with passion. You know, passion. No, you want a manager that picks the right players and gets them set up in the right system. And up to now, the only thing that I would say that Arne Slot has been guilty of is he's been far too loyal to players who are literally going like that to him. They're going like that to him. It's Luke's has seen you in Stretford End in '99, I'm sure. I promise you haven't. I have been on the Stretford End though, but watching Liverpool. I was in the Stretford End for Liverpool 4-1. Swifty, with Iraola and Glasner at smaller clubs, they have to be the best options. I wouldn't want Glasner Iriola, if it came to it, Iriola maybe, but I just honestly I don't think Iriola's the right. It's just not. There's not a manager out there I would rather have than Arne Slot. There just isn't. There's not one available right now, and even the ones that aren't available, I wouldn't want. I want Arne Slot. I want this guy to manage us. It's infuriating that we've got so many who are turning on him when he's literally proven that he's done something spectacular. He's done something incredible. He's proven himself. He's got money in the bank. He's got credit in the bank. It's baffling. 92 FC says Liverpool just having a bad run, and what always follows bad runs are good runs. It's called the dynamics of football. I think if the board show serious commitment to we are backing this manager, don't release a statement saying you're backing the manager, because that's usually like that's the death knell, isn't it? But I do think you would absolutely want to back the manager over the players at this moment in time. Gee, with Klopp's team, look, he done well. Yeah, with Klopp's team, exactly, which is incredible, isn't it? It's impressive. There's no other manager does it with someone else's team. They never do it with someone else's team. That's the impressive thing. People use that as a... Honestly, that just shows a lot of people don't understand football. People say, oh yeah, well, he did it with Klopp's team. I know, it's great, isn't it? It's unbelievable. It's incredible. No manager's ever done it before. It's absolutely insane. He did it with someone else's team. Didn't even need to go and sign a player and improve the first team. Didn't need to do it. What a guy. Won the title, first time of asking, with someone else's team. What an absolute hero. Gee, look what happens when he's got his way. The wheels have fallen off. What do you mean, look what happens when he's got his way? What are you talking about, got his way? In what world is this getting his way? Arne Slot hasn't got his way. Honestly, if you think Arne Slot wanted to sign a load of 21 and 20-year-old, 19, 22-year-olds, whatever, and have them be a core part of his first team. Villa! Great header, and it's Donyell Marlon. It's 1-0 Villa. It's 1-0 to Villa. What a strike that is. Donyell Marlon with a header to put him in front. Oh, the away team. Oh, that's bad. That is horrendous. That is absolutely horrendous. All the Young Boys fans have just launched bottles and everything at Donyell Marlon, and one has absolutely smashed him on the head. Oh, that's shocking. That's absolutely shocking. Honestly, do you know what? The Swiss players should be going over to their fans and going, no, that's not okay. That is not okay. Look at him, they've cut his head. They've cut his head open. Oh, that's awful. That's shocking, that. Anyone who throws stuff at football, you'd melt. Absolute melt. Great ball in. Wonderful header from Marlon. Keeper should maybe do better. Pushes it onto the post. 1-0 Villa. And do you know what? I'm glad now. I'm glad. Shocking that. And then Marlon runs over to celebrate. And as he runs over to celebrate, the Swiss fans launch cups and all sorts out of the crowd. And it smashes Marlon on the head. He's cut his head open while celebrating a goal. It's Luke says Young Boys will be getting a big fine. Hopefully stadium ban too. Yeah, they should do. They should do. Gee, that explains it. He's a Villa fan. I think you've missed the purpose of the channel, you know. I think you've missed the whole point of the channel. I watch games of football from everyone, mate, and I celebrate goals from most, to be honest. So, I was a United fan minutes ago, apparently. Now I'm a Villa fan. Feyenoord 1, Celtic 1. Be yourself, Dylan. Good to see you. Kane, good evening, Key. Merry Xmas, boss. Good to see you, man. Yeah, nearly Christmas time. I'm going to have my deckies up soon. I'm going to get me... The whole background is going to be more Christmas deckies. Joe, you don't celebrate our goals. I'm not going to celebrate Newcastle goals, am I? Although, actually, I will be celebrating Newcastle goals this weekend, mate. You and I are on the same team this weekend. We're both rooting for Newcastle this weekend. I'll be doing that one Saturday 5:30. Come on, Newcastle! I was cheering Everton on against United the other day. I'll be cheering Newcastle on at the weekend. Villa forever. Has Marlon been subbed then? No, he's not subbed. He's still on the pitch. He just got. You can see he's got like a little nick on his head where they threw the plastic. I don't know if maybe someone came on and rubbed some whatever like Vaseline or something, and I don't know. Maybe you could, because you can block the cut up, can't you, like that? Joe says you're forgetting we're away, pal. No chance in hell. Yeah, but you're away at Everton. Everton always give you chances. Paul, so you're 20 minutes away but haven't bothered to go to a home game for 2 years but constantly offer opinion on them. That's really quite bad. No, I've not been to a home game out of choice. It's nothing to do with... it's nothing to do with not being bothered or anything. I've out of pure choice, I don't go to games, can't go to games anymore. So, choose not to. Certainly nothing to do with being bothered. I've been to other like non-league and stuff like that occasionally, but no, I watch games every single day. I reckon I've put more miles in. For Liverpool than most. Certainly most of these online, your Anfield agendas and various others. I reckon I've certainly earned me stripes as a Liverpool fan anyway. I can show you plenty of pictures of me travelling around Europe watching Liverpool. I've been very lucky. Very, very lucky to travel around Europe watching Liverpool. Alex says, how many more losses until Slot needs to walk? Should be gone already, lad. No, we shouldn't be gone already. And how many more losses? I haven't got a number for you. Bryn Super Blue says, bloody hell, Vaseline when playing young boys. Hey, keep your head out the gutter, Bryn. Keep your head out the gutter. I didn't think we'd be mentioning Vaseline tonight. Look at the state of that. Oh, what a shame. And it looks like it's cleaned up anyway. Yeah, but you can see he has got a visible cut on his head, a visible bump. And it's actually, you can see it's starting to swell. That's so frustrating that your fans do that. I can't imagine how like embarrassing that must be to be one of the young boys players or the manager. Yeah. And to be honest, the manager's new to the club. The manager is what's his name? The ex Mönchengladbach manager. I think he was at Leverkusen for a spell as well. Gerardo Sioane, I think his name is. He's ex Leverkusen, ex Mönchengladbach. He's managing young boys now. I think he's only recently took over. But then again here, Villa, this should be 2. This really should be 2. Martin. Nah, gets it all wrong. Here's Gesand. Alex, get Klopp back. Save the season before we get relegated, lad. You're talking out your arse, mate. You don't want Jurgen Klopp back. Bryn, hope you're okay, mate. You too, mate. Good to see you, as always. Omonia 1, Dynamo Kiev 0. Baz Sioane, you mean? Yes, that's what I said, isn't it? How do you pronounce it? Tell me. Gerardo something. Sioane. Shuain. I don't know. It's an odd surname. But yeah, Gerardo Sioane. Lille 2, Dynamo Zagreb 0. Sibka, haven't watched Villa much. Is that Gesand any good? Every time I've watched him, no. I saw him a little bit for Nice last season. I thought he was going to be a half decent signing for Villa, but he's been pretty disappointing so far. I don't think he's offered very much. Certainly not in the way of numbers, but I feel like every time I see him on the pitch, he just doesn't really get involved in the game very much. It feels like he's loitering at the back post here now. I just don't feel like I see him, get involved in the game too much. It feels like he's always kind of on the periphery. And he might have. I mean, and he's had a couple of chances where he's ran in behind already, but just hasn't quite got to grips with the pace of the game so far. Sipka, you are the first person to ever get my name right the first time saying it. Oh, that's something. Thank you. I tried. Baz, no clue. Just asking that lad. You mean remember his playing path, not his managerial? I don't remember his playing path. No, his managerial was Mönchengladbach and Leverkusen, wasn't it? But I don't remember him who he played for. Joe, can you do a shifting goal? Was the Nick Pope goal that bad? Because honestly, it feels like all Newcastle fans have told me since is that Nick Pope had a shocker in the Newcastle game. I haven't seen the the Marseille goals against Newcastle, so I can't tell you if Nick Pope is as guilty of whatever. But yeah, to be honest, Nick Pope, I thought he had a bad season so far for Newcastle. Right, Villa. To be honest, Villa, they'll take this so far. Of course they will, because they're in front. Young boys haven't really had a sniff, apart from one shot on target about 10 minutes ago. And since the goal, it's kind of gone a little bit flat. Feels like young boys have had the sting taken out of him. Yeah, not good. Joe says... Oh, sorry, Ben Headley. Nick Pope has had a terrible season, and Joe, I think it's not that bad as fans are making out. Be yourself, Dylan. Will Morgan Rogers get in over Bellingham for England? I think he gets in over Bellingham, but I think we absolutely have to have Morgan Rogers in the squad. I think, to be honest, in an ideal world, if I'm dead honest, I would want Liverpool to sign Morgan Rogers and Elliot Anderson. They are the two players I want Liverpool to sign more than anyone. Adam says, what do you think of the players are fighting for Arne Slot or down tools? I think they're fighting. I think there's 4 or 5 that aren't, and he needs to drop them immediately, or they will get him the sack. But it's not his fault. It is his fault if he keeps picking them. Yeah. If he keeps picking them, then... yeah, it is what it is, isn't it? Shamalamon, what do you think about Blackburn Rovers? Got beat against QPR the other night, didn't you? I didn't think you'd... at home against QPR as well. It's not been a good start to the season, really, for Rovers. You know, you weren't a million miles away from the playoffs last season. And I thought you might be in or around there again, but where are you now in the table? It feels like you I mean, I don't know exactly, but I think you're around the bottom. You're like 19th, 20th, maybe 18th. I don't know. Somewhere around there. It's not been a good start for Blackburn. Baz, he played for Luzerne and Grasshoppers. Remember him from the 04-05 database. Interesting. And Ben Headley, as a Liverpool fan, how are you feeling about Isak at the moment? How am I feeling about Isak? I haven't really got anything to say about Isak because, again, I don't feel like the guy's played... Like, I feel like I'm reserving judgment on Isak until he started a few games back to back. He hasn't started any game. He's not been fit enough. That's the one issue we've had with Alexander Isak. He's just not been fit enough to start games. When he came on last night, I actually thought he did all right. I mean, you know, in a game we get beaten 4-1 by, you know, he comes off the bench and, you know, he had a little swivel and a shot. He did quite well with that. A couple of times he picked the ball up on the left-hand side and ran at the full-back, which is something nobody tried, funnily enough, all night. So yeah, like I like Alexander Isak, and I think he's a wonderful player, and I think in time he'll be a wonderful player for us, but he can't do it on his own. He can't do it on his own, and it's the same with Van Dijk, to be honest. Van Dijk can't do it on his own. He's part of a back 5, 4 of which are brand new. Ben, do you feel like he hasn't had enough time to prove himself? He certainly hasn't had enough minutes on the pitch to prove himself, no. Not at Liverpool. But proving himself is not really the issue, is it? Like, I don't think anyone really doubts Alexander Isak's quality, do they? He put Alexander Isak on the market tomorrow and say, let's say Liverpool decided we're going to sell him in January, you'd have a number of clubs quite happy to pay 100 million plus for him. So no, I don't think there's any issues per se with Alexander Isak, and I'm not concerned about his quality. How we fit him into the side, that's maybe another issue altogether, and certainly his fitness is a problem if he keeps doing that. Adam says Morgan Rogers and Elliot Anderson are highly sought after players. 80 million might not be enough for either. I think if you got paid 80 million for Anderson, 80 million for Bellingham, 80 million for Anderson, 80 million for Rogers, I think you'd get both of them. You get 160 million the pair. We'd have to sell Alexis McAllister for that, and hopefully we'd get somewhere close to that, because at the minute, Alexis McAllister I'd sell for a cup of Bovril. He's absolutely shocking. Tom, lad, where are you from? Wigan. Where's the Scousers on here? I'm not from Wigan, no. I'm not from Wigan. I'm certainly not. I'm from St Helens originally, although I was born in Wiston and I've worked in Liverpool all my life. I'm certainly not from Wigan. Wigan's Greater Manchester. I'm Merseyside, sunshine. He's a Norwegian red. Alex says Virgil handball needs dropping for that alone. Van Dijk wasn't the issue last night. Didn't have a great game, but Van Dijk wasn't the issue. Adam says Isak just needs a pre-season and time to adjust to teammates. That's time Arne Slot may not get. Well, it's time Arne Slot should get. I'll say that. It's time Arne Slot should get. There's no way you should be sacking Arne Slot. Anyone who thinks otherwise, I don't understand. Silly in my opinion. Can't have watched much footy. Feyenoord 1, Celtic 2. Joe says, what we're saying, Isak needs to adapt to the league. And Alex, Slot, Virgil and Mo need gone. Club needs a big reset. Archie, Key, I reckon Slot has to go sooner or later. You reckon, do you, Archie? And who do you reckon comes in for him? Marlon, it's 2. Hey, get over to them away fans again, lad. Go on, yes, good lad, Marlon. Yeah, they can't reach you from there. Look at them all throwing stuff again. Get them out the stadium. That's shocking. That's great play. I love that. Daniel Marlon. Oh, hey, Tolga. Tolga said that the young boys would win tonight. What's going on, Tolga? 2-0 to Villa. Come on, Marlon. Great goal, that. That's an unbelievable goal. Archie, if yous lose at least 1 or 2 the next 3, he needs to go. Who do you support? Oh, you're a blue. Oh, there you go. That makes sense. That makes sense. Of course he needs to go if you're a blue. He needs to go. No, he doesn't need to go, Archie. Be yourself, Dylan. I'm happy to join you on the live 21st of February. It's Forest v Liverpool again. Oh, yes. Cool. Sounds good. Yeah, let's do it. Let's plan for that. Look at that. Look at Marlon laughing at him. I love that. That's brilliant. That's absolutely brilliant. Vincent Jamie Lane says Liverpool's best Premier League player, Key. Gerrard, in my opinion, but ironically, never won the Prem. I'm not a big Isak fan. I'd pick Ekatike over him all day long. Yeah, Liverpool's best Premier League player is 100% Steven Gerrard. Luis Suarez is a close second. Virgil van Dijk, Alisson, Salah. They're all up there. Adam, Morgan Rogers was priced at 80 million in the summer. It will cost 120 next summer with English tax. No, apparently Liverpool agreed. How true this is, I don't know. Comedy Long Pants Gamer, I love my club. How good was that? How good was Marlon going over like that to the fans? I can have that. And the fans now, honestly, there's some sort of a riot going on in the away end. And you can see those Swiss players are furious by what's going on here. They're absolutely furious. It's embarrassing, isn't it? It's absolutely embarrassing what's happening here. It's disgusting. Look at that. Look, and you can see the Swiss fans are going over and just saying, just calm down, just calm down. It's nonsense. I can't understand that. Can't understand it. I've been on European away days, and I know there's always some who like to, they get a bit leery, they have a few beers and whatever, but that's incredible. Comedy Long Pants Gamer, Jesus, Young Boys fans should be banned next time. And they will, mate, they will. For that where he lobs the thing, the cup or whatever, whoever it is who threw that cup that smashes Marlon on the back of the head and cuts him, by the way, that has to be an immediate ban from all games across Europe for that person and for Young Boys in general, because he wasn't the only one who threw. There was about 20 cups and everything that rained down on Marlon when he went over to that end. The ref's now speaking to the Young Boys captain here. Do you know, it wouldn't surprise me if he take the players off the pitch. Look at Marlon, he's saying, honestly, this is bad. This is horrendous. The game is still, it's stopped. The game has stopped here. 92FC says, Newcastle are putting a complaint in for the fans' behaviour in France. Hey, listen, Liverpool had the exact same when we played in France. It's always a nightmare playing in France. The French police, the French football fans, it's all really, really bad. But again, yeah, Liverpool, doesn't matter how you treat Liverpool fans, evidently. It was always, them Scousers, then Liverpool fans causing problems, but then all the other English teams go over there and they get shit as well. It's just football fans. I don't know if it's the French and the English or if it's just French and football. I don't know what's going on, but there's always issues. Always. I think the ref is just going to blow up for half time here, honestly. The ref is having a word with Unai Emery, but I think he's going to go on. He's having a word with both managers. I think there's a real possibility the game gets called off here, honestly. But at the very least, I think it's quite likely maybe he sends them to the stands or sends them to the half time, and maybe they give the police 15 minutes to try and settle things down. But we can't be having this. It's so bad. This is really bad. John, why will it be called off? Daniel Marlon has had something through at his head. It's cut him on his head when he celebrated a goal. There's since been literal rioting in that away end. They're trying to get on the pitch. They've got a massive police presence surrounding the Young Boys fans. It's embarrassing. It is really embarrassing. You can't play in a game of football. Stupid. Comedy Long Pants Gamer, Wakey, who are you rooting for on Sunday? Chelsea or Arsenal? Arsenal. Yeah, Arsenal, 1,000,000%. Listen, I don't like either of them, but when it comes to the lesser of two evils, it's Arsenal. So yeah, I can live with. Chelsea are shocking. Do you know? And the thing is, I'm listening to Chelsea fans telling me they're in a title race. It's nonsense. Because they've beat a 10-men Barcelona who were honestly crap anyway. Chelsea aren't in a title race. Adam 464, what's happening with Swiss football? I don't know. I don't know what's going on here. I imagine it's going to get worse before it gets better. Comedy Long Pants Gamer, 100%. I hate Chelsea. Messed up Aston Villa times in the past. Well, yeah. We had a long-standing rivalry with Chelsea in the early 2000s when it was Mourinho and Benitez and all that stuff. So, Ben Hughes, yet ultras are continued to be allowed to English grounds. I honestly, I can't. You know, I don't even know if it's ultras. It might not even be like the ultras of Young Boys. I find it very difficult to think that Young Boys have ultras. I always think of the Swiss as ultra calm, intellectual, bohemian, very. I don't know. That's kind of my very calm and neutral people. As the country, neutral, Switzerland. It's mad to think they've got ultras. Oliver Dwyer says, back again. Hope you have an amazing day. Good to see you, Oliver. And FCB, hi mate, are you keeping an eye on the Tranmere game tonight? I'm keeping an eye on the scoreline, yes. Archie, Akey, watching the Toffees on Saturday, mate. I absolutely will be watching the Toffees, 5:30 Saturday. Come on the barcodes. Come on the horse punchers. They're in again, Villa. Make it 3. Oh, unlucky. Honestly, I want these to get battered now. I want Villa to stick 4 or 5 past these. Ben, sound. What are you saying? What sound? What are you saying sound for? Have I missed something? Right, there's 4 added minutes at the end of the first half. 4 added minutes has been played, and I think at half time the players are just going to run down the tunnel just in case there's a pitch invasion. Joe, I used to like you, pal. Oh, you didn't. No, you didn't. Ever since that incident with the Bramley Apple turnover, you've never liked me. 3-star Reds. What's happened at Villa Park tonight, Key, with the away fans? Just had a festive cob from Subway and watching Thanksgiving NFL on TV. A festive cob? What is a festive cob from Subway? Is that like turkey and cranberry and whatever? I didn't know they did a festive cob. And if they did do a festive cob, I didn't think it would have hit now in, whatever, the 27th of November. Listen, we're debating. We've had all sorts tonight. Subway and Vaseline. Who would have thought that would be featured on the Aston Villa v Young Boys kit? Adam says it's much easier to remove 2,000 away fans than home fans. And Ben, I put evening mate, having had 16 plus hours to digest last night, what are your thoughts? Yeah, well, I mean, to be honest, we've covered it. We've already covered it at length. So I don't want to keep dwelling too much on it during a Villa game, because ultimately we'll get people going, hang on a minute, you keep talking about Liverpool through a Villa game. But people do keep asking me about it, so I understand. But I would say that my thoughts after the game are just as pronounced as my thoughts immediately at the end of the game, which is my anger is towards the players, not the manager. So for me, the main issue I have with the manager, and it is half time here now, the main issue I have with the manager is if he continues to pick the same 3 or 4 players that are literally giving him that all season. If he picks those 4 players against West Ham, like if he drops 1 or 2 of them, fair enough, but he's got to drop at least some of them. I honestly, I'm getting to the point where I don't want to see Alexis McAllister on the pitch for Liverpool anymore. I don't want to see him in a Liverpool shirt. I think Canate has to be dropped. I don't know. Joe Gomez must have taken a shit on Arne Slot's desk at the start of every training session, and he hates him. I don't know what is going on, but Joe Gomez definitely needs to get in that Liverpool side ahead of Canate, because I don't want to see him. I don't want to see Canate. I don't want to see Alexis McAllister. Pathan Lawn says, what's happened with the Young Boys fans? What's happened is that Donyell Marlon scored a very good goal, header, ran over to celebrate. Not necessarily at the Young Boys fans, but in that corner where the Young Boys fans are. Because obviously it's like a right angle, isn't it? That Villa corner. There's the Villa fans here. There's the Young Boys fans here. He goes over to that corner flag and celebrates. And as he turns round, there's loads of cups and everything and all sorts raining down on him. And one of them smashes him on the back of the head. And he's got a cut, basically. He's got a cut and a bump on his head. The referee then sort of makes a note of it. And then the game goes on. They score again. Donyell Marlon again goes over and celebrates, but it's very, very muted. He doesn't go up to them going like that, like right in front of the away end. But he is there again near that corner flag, and it's quite muted. All he does is smile in their direction. And again, loads of stuff raining down. You've got fans trying to get on the pitch. There's maybe 50 police surrounding the away end, just trying to keep them all relatively contained. Yeah, and the referee then goes over and speaks to Unai Emery and to Gerardo Siwane, the new Young Boys manager. Goes and has a chat to him and says, listen, if this carries on, we might have to cancel the game or call the game off or postpone it or whatever, because this is really bad. Comedy Long Pants Gamer says, all I know is that if Arne Slot gets sacked, I think Liverpool will dangerously lose prestige. Like, who's in the market? Not Klopp, that's for sure. There isn't anyone in the market. You're absolutely right, mate. There isn't anyone in the market that Liverpool can target who is an immediate improvement on Arne Slot, who we could realistically get, who I would even want or get excited about. There's nobody I would rather have as manager of Liverpool than Arne Slot right now. He's a great man. He's a wonderful manager. He's absolutely top quality. He did something last season that was totally unprecedented. Nobody had expectations that he would do anything like that. So no, I have absolutely no desire to see him removed from his position. I think if we do, all we're doing is saying to the players, if you want to get managers sacked, you just need to down tools, lads. You've got the real power. That's never been the case at Liverpool. The manager, that I would say that's one of the key differences between Liverpool and other clubs. Throughout my lifetime, at least, the manager has always had more authority than players, and I mean very good players. When a manager has said, I don't want that player in my team, the player has gone. Even if they're a really good player. I remember Gerard Houllier. There is a Villa connection there because he managed Villa as well. Gerard Houllier managing and saying he didn't want Robbie Fowler. He wanted Fowler out. And Robbie Fowler was one of my... Well, he's my favourite ever Liverpool player. Robbie Fowler, he said, I want him gone. He didn't want him in the team. He didn't like him. And he moved him on. And that was a massive call, but we got rid of him. It's happened subsequently with Benitez. Benitez wanted Xabi Alonso gone. And the club backed him. The club backed him. Sometimes it doesn't always work out, but the manager is like the ultimate authority. Klopp did the same with a few players. And I feel like we've got to do it again now with Arne Slot. We've got to back the manager and not the players. You've got to back the manager. The manager has to have the ultimate authority at Liverpool. The players can never, ever be bigger than the manager. And if he says, I want him, and him gone, get him gone. Get him out. Scouse says, Arne Slot's that baldy, we can see what he's thinking. And Kieran, when does his position become untenable? Maybe if we're somewhere in the bottom half come March. Yeah, maybe at that point. Reveal Clothing says, the Bournemouth manager is better than Slot, so is Emery. Nah, he's not. No, he's not. Unai Emery's a very good manager, but I wouldn't want him managing Liverpool. Scrum Down Live. Remember when Pat Jennings got a dart thrown at him away at Forest? Did he really? I don't remember. Paul Slater. Arne Slot is an Evertonian. Arne Slot is an Evertonian. Hey, listen. There's only Everton appoint Liverpool managers. Liverpool don't appoint Everton managers. Archie, when Slot leaves, who do the lads think Liverpool should get? I don't know, probably someone good like David Moyes. Comedy Long Pants Gamer, I wouldn't want Unai Emery anywhere else but at Villa. He's the man. The fact fans want him sacked is sickening to my stomach. It's mad, isn't it? But isn't that just bizarre? Isn't that exactly how stupid and pathetic football fans can be at times? How petulant and dramatic and like 15-year-old girls, everything's a fucking drama. Why? Because you've not got a couple of wins. Sack him, sack him, sack him. Honestly, they behave like Chelsea. There's a lot to be said for sticking with a manager. And sticking with a manager when it gets bad is usually something that rewards long term. Jordan says, Oliver Glasner to Liverpool, here we go. Honestly, I wouldn't want him. You can keep him. Keep Oliver Glasner. Kieran, you are one of the few Liverpool fans on here who's stuck by slots. Honestly, I think most Liverpool fans, like all the ones who I've known for years, and even the high-profile Liverpool ones on Twitter, like the really, really good Liverpool, I'm talking like serious Liverpool journalists, all of them have been slot in. All of them. Every single one of them has been slot in. Like, almost unanimously. There's some that are concerned, and there's some that are pointing the finger and having a go and all that. But generally speaking, like across the board, all of the, what I would consider to be proper Liverpool fans want him to stay. All of them. Every single one. But the ones who are... I mean, it's sad to say, but it is clickbait. It is clickbait. It's people who are trying to manufacture views and people who are trying to, you know, get some clicks and subscribers for the channel. They're the ones who are saying slot out because that's how you get views, innit? Honestly, if you wanted to get views for your channel the other night, all you needed to say was slot out. Right. I don't know why the clock was still running. Jordan, I agree, to be honest. Don't think he's proven enough yet, top level wise. No, he's a good manager, mate. He's a very good manager. I'm not dismissive about Oliver Glasner. He's done wonderful things with Palace. I just don't think he's Liverpool. He's not Liverpool manager. I wouldn't. And honestly, that's no reflection on him. I don't want anyone to replace Arne Slot. I want Arne Slot. I don't want anyone to replace him. The guy is the right person. There's nothing wrong with Arne Slot. He's a wonderful manager. Joel says the same people with how it's embarrassing. And Archie says, Key, you don't know the meaning of a bad manager. I'm an Everton fan. Hey, listen, lad. Ronnie Koeman wasn't that bad. Ronnie Koeman was alright. And Bobby Brown Shoes. Bobby Brown Shoes had you playing some good football at times. To be honest, I actually thought Big Sam was... It was harsh when you sacked Big Sam. HH, they're saying slot out because you've been awful. Whether you're slotting or out, no denying he is on thin ice. Not thin ice. No, they're saying slot out because they've got an agenda to push. Because there's always a race to be first. That's what the modern football fan is, isn't it? There's always a race to be first. I said he was crap first. I said he was brilliant before anyone. I think we should do... It's just a race to be first. No one's bothered about being accurate or you know... It's just about... Who can say this first? I called it ages ago. Yeah, well, I called it before you. It's fucking nonsense, honestly. There's always a race to be the loudest, or the most angry, or the most right. It's stupid. There's people who were saying slot out after the first loss, going back to, and even like, yeah, just going back right to the start of this bad run. There was people saying slot out then. Jordan, pisses me off how entitled our fan base has gone, complaining about Willock as a backup. And Comedy, Long Pants Gamer says, imagine Sean Dyche at Liverpool would have gotten them 17th place. Sean Dyche is a good manager. You won't ever find me complaining about Sean Dyche. Good manager. Not a manager I would want at Liverpool. He's been touched by the Everton brush. But he's a very good manager. He's a very, very good manager. I didn't think Everton should have sacked him, to be honest. And I still think, even though I called it, it might not quite fit the timeline, but I did say at the start of this season, my prediction was David Moyes doesn't finish the season as Everton manager. And I still stand by that. I still think there's a very good chance that happens. I know he's just had a massive win at Old Trafford. I get it. I understand. But it's usually short-lived. Moments like that are not watershed for Everton. Jordan, the downfall of Liverpool, Eddie Nketiah, cough, cough. Eddie Nketiah. Ismail Assar and Eddie Nketiah. HH says, media builds pressure. I'm a United fan and never wanted Amorim out, but the media put so much pressure on him. Hi, Mark. How's it going? You say the media put so much pressure on Amorim. Do you not think that that's by the very nature of being at Manchester United, you're at the biggest club in England, maybe, or certainly if you join them, you think you're the biggest club in England. The media certainly treat you as if you're the biggest club in England. Whatever you think of that statement, I'm sure there's certainly some people, 50% seem to agree, 50% seem to disagree. But the point being, if Ruben Amorim is at Man United and he's finishing 16th and not winning anything, you're going to get pressure. Like, that's not unwarranted. You're going to expect better. And then he's come in, he's spent big on players who have been, Premier League ready, Cunha and Burmo. I personally think if he doesn't get Champions League footy this year, then you've got to start asking questions about Amorim. You've not had... you've already been knocked out of one competition. If you don't win the FA Cup, you're not going to win a competition this year. You're going to be still trophyless again. That means United will be trophyless for 2 years running. If you don't qualify for the Champions League, I think that's a really bad look for United. Do you not think? Two years, no trophies. You've spent big money. You've not had, European competition to deal with. And you won't have won anything. I think that's a bad look. I think that's a really bad look. 3-star Reds, I'm certainly not complaining about Sean Dyche. His presser today was hilarious with Callum Hudson-Odoi. MK, hey Key, good evening. Thomas Frank has to go. Christ, now we're saying Thomas Frank has to go. Why? Why does Thomas Frank have to go? Thomas Frank doesn't have to go. Come on. Why? Thomas Frank's a wonderful manager as well. This is how impatient are football fans. Thomas Frank out. I've never heard such nonsense, honestly. HH, it is a bad look, but it's a mess that goes further back than Amorim, and it's going to take time. I respect, and I respect that. I absolutely respect that. But doesn't that, given you're of that thinking, all banter aside, you're prepared to accept 2 trophyless years and no Champions League football for 2 years at Manchester United. You would be prepared to accept that, and yet we're talking about Arne Slot out after 3 months of the Premier League season. And he's already won a title, by the way. Amorim finished 16th, who didn't win a sausage last year. Amorim, 2 years, no Champions League footy. Arne Slot, even if Liverpool were to finish 16th, are we really saying that Arne Slot should be sacked after 3 months? This is why it's crazy to me. Absolutely crazy. Philip Middleton, I'd take Thomas Frank at Liverpool if Slot gets the bullet. Hey, do you know what? There's worse managers. There's certainly worse. If worse comes to worst and he was to resign, let's say Arne Slot was to resign and walk away, then yeah, I probably would. I think Thomas Frank would be a manager I would look at. Comedy Long Pants Gamer says, PSG is such a weird team right now. The defence looks shaky, but their offence is amazing. Is this what Liverpool wanted to be at the start of the season? Looking at you, Canate. No. I think it's really difficult. It's really difficult with Liverpool because I feel like we've changed. I don't know how you can bring in so many new players and especially young players as well, and not accept that there's an inevitability about them making mistakes and errors. It is what happens, isn't it? If you sign a load of kids, right? Like we've got Rio Engamoa, who's playing games of football for us at 16 years of age. We've got Florian Wirtz at 21. We've got Ekatike at 22. We've got Frimpong at 23. We've got Kirkaz at 21. We've got Mamadashvili at 23. We've got Leone at 18. We've got all these players who are playing regular minutes for us. And the kids, for the most part, who haven't played in the Premier League before, really, for the most part. So there's an adaptability period when any player comes to the Prem. There's an adaptability period when a young player starts playing in the Premier League. Both of those factors combined, plus all of our experienced players have gone to pot for some reason. HH, I don't think Slot should go. I'm not saying that, mate. I'm just saying there's going to be pressure. Listen, absolutely there's going to be pressure. He's a Liverpool manager, of course. That's kind of part and parcel of the job. He's gonna have pressure, but you can't sack him. Like that is such a mad claim. I really hope that the Liverpool board aren't thinking that way. I really truly hope that they're not. Right, sorry, second half, I needed to get that underway. Here we go. We're off and underway for the second half. Villa attacking the opposite end now. They're not with the Young Boys fans. JB, the whole league hopes you don't sack him. And Liverpool hope so too, yeah. We don't want to sack him either. Thanks for the solidarity, mate. I appreciate it. '92 FC says every manager should be given at least a season and a half. I feel like he should get even longer though, Arne Slot, because he didn't sign anyone last year. So this is his first season, really, as far as I'm concerned. This is his first season trying to actually change how we play and implement new players and all that stuff. Like, it's far too quick to be expecting him to just step in and, yeah, just here's a load of players, go and carry on a title winning side. It's crazy. Philip says, Key, I agree, Slot won the Prem, but it was Klopp's team. I could have managed that team. Hang on a minute, Phil. Let's rein that back in, mate. Klopp couldn't win the Premier League with that team. So are you a better manager than Jurgen Klopp? Because Klopp finished third with that team. So it's far more impressive that Slot won it without having spent any money. Far more impressive. Slovan Bratislava 2, Rayo Vallecano 1. HH says, people are too reactionary. After we beat you, no talk of Amarim's system, lose to Everton and bang. Yeah, far too reactionary. You win a game and all of a sudden everything's fantastic and wonderful. Lose 1 or 2 and sack the manager. Yeah, that's how the modern football fan for you. D28 says Arteta can keep his job with only an FA Cup and 2 Community Shields in 6 years. And Octavian says, I honestly think the Jota situation has really affected the team playing on the player's mind. It has. It has. It would make anybody that. It would make anybody nihilistic and apathetic, wouldn't it? That's exactly how you would be. It's always that way with any form of grief. If you lose someone in a shocking way that's surprising, a period of apathy and nihilism generally follows, doesn't it? And if you are apathetic and nihilistic, then you'll probably suffer periods where you're not very resilient, where, the slightest thing knocks you, where your confidence is low. And HH says, same as most people would have said, Isak top 3 strikers, but if you ask them now, they'd say no. Exactly. There you go. Players don't change overnight. Isak's certainly top 3, top 5 strikers at worst in Europe. So it's just about getting him fit and getting him in the side. Octavian says 100% make the team are nowhere near the level, mainly due to Jota. It's deeper than blaming Slot. Listen, how much percentage you want to put on it, mate? I really appreciate that. I like the thinking. I like the answer and the question. But yeah, I feel like as soon as you say Jota's death has had an impact on it, people just roll their eyes and say it's like you're excusing Slot or you're excusing the performances of the players. You're not. You can be both. You can absolutely be critical of the players and the manager and everything that's going on, and still say I think they're suffering, to be honest, and it's maybe deeper than just it's a quick fix, it's the midfield, it's drop Canate or change the system or whatever. That's nonsense. It's nothing to do with that. There's a big mix at play here, and Jota is certainly a factor. Strike! Oh, unlucky, nearly 3-0 for Villa. Thank you for the gift, by the way. I appreciate that. Thank you. LFC champion, this is what I'm saying about the team. Keep with Slot. A lot has had to have happened over the summer. And MK13 Key says, do you not think that Frank has committed 2 sackable offences in his last 2 games? What's his 2 sackable offences? What are his 2 sackable offences? 92 FC says Eddie Howe goes from hero to zero on a monthly basis. Here's Villa. Guess and... Oh, unlucky. Nearly 3-0 Villa. I'm really looking forward to Palace after this. Here's Marlon. Stood up to the far post. Cleared away. And MK says, lost 4-1 to Arsenal, then 5-3 in Paris. 2 sackable offences, ignoring his already shite form. Hang on a minute. Can I just ask a quick question? If you're ranking teams in Europe right now, who do you think are top... If you're saying top 5 teams in Europe, who are your top 5 teams in Europe right now? I'd love to know. Who are your top 5 teams in Europe? Because the reason I ask is you're saying that going away to Arsenal and going away to PSG and losing are like, oh, it's 3. Is he going to stand? I think he might be offside. He is going to be offside. Should have been a Marlon hat-trick there. Nearly a Marlon hat-trick. MK says Barca, Bayern, PSG, Arsenal, Madrid in no order. Right, okay. So you have played 2 of the top 5. By your own admission, by the way, you're a Spurs fan. By your own admission, you have played 2 of the top 5 sides in Europe. Where do you think Spurs are in Europe? Now rank Spurs for me. If you had to... Spurs top 10? Top 10 sides in Europe? Talking about quality on the pitch? Top 10? Top 20? Top 30? Where are they? I guess my point here is, mate, is going away to Arsenal, going away to PSG and losing is not a shameful thing. It's absolutely fine. There's no issue at all with losing games of football like that. It's the same with City. Listen, you went to City earlier in the season and won. How many teams have gone to City and won this season? Not that many. Not that many. It's a tough, tough place to go. So, you know, City are a bloody good side. Spurs went there and did a job on him. He played Arsenal. I think you were a little bit unlucky with one of the goals as well. And PSG, I thought you gave a pretty good account of yourself. I know it's 5-3 or whatever in the end, but you lose 5-3 at PSG. That's not a shameful thing. You went there and you had a really good go. You've played PSG twice. You've beaten once on penalties, and you've given them a fucking good game at home. That's not bad. That is not bad. Jake says, my top 5 is first Bayern, second Arsenal, third PSG, fourth Madrid, fifth Barcelona, and probably us 6th. Must be Marlon. Oh, unlucky. MK says, Spurs are our top 15 based on squad, in my opinion. But in my opinion, Tottenham board have to set a standard. You can't afford to lose those 2 games. You can't afford to lose those 2. I don't understand that thinking, mate. I honestly don't understand that thinking. You've not played poorly. You've gone to PSG and given them a really... If you score 3 away at the Parc des Princes, that's a pretty good game. Like, you've done well. Yes, you've conceded 5, but a couple of them were absolute worldies. Like, I don't know. I don't know what you're expecting. I really don't know what you're expecting. I feel like you're unreasonable. Definitely unreasonable. If you're saying that Spurs needed to go to Arsenal and get a result and PSG and get a result, I feel like that's an unreasonable expectation to have of Thomas Frank in his first season at a club who, by the way, didn't have a good season last year. Like, you're not on a great platform for success, are you? I don't feel like he's not walked into a team that finished like 6th or 7th. You finished like, you were around about the relegation zone for most of last season. I know you win the European Cup, but I don't know, mate. I feel like that's an unreasonable expectation of Thomas Frank. MK says, I definitely understand your view, but Spurs shouldn't be a team that appreciates performances. It should be results too. Okay, but would you accept that some managers, in order to create a good team, you have to go through pretty difficult periods? Sam says, hi Key, we have these lot away on Sunday. It could be ugly. Do you know what? I like Villa a lot, but I will say this. Come on Wolves this weekend. I really want Wolves to get out of that relegation scrap. It would give me no greater pleasure than to see Rob Edwards turn that round. So I'd love to see that happen. So I'm rooting for you at the weekend, mate. I'd love to see Wolves get out of that predicament that you're in. I think there's a good team there at Wolves. What a brew says, yes, Key lad, big relegation game for us on Sunday. I'll be live for it, mate. I'll be live for it. Liverpool, West Ham. I'll be live for Palace against United before that as well. And MK13 says the stick with a manager bit should have been done with Ange. I don't think Frankie's good enough for a huge club. And I'll agree with you on that. I do think you should have kept Ange Postecoglou. I absolutely agree with you. You should have kept Ange Postecoglou, but you didn't. And that's a Daniel Levy thing. So, you know, you decided to sack him rather. Yeah, I don't know what to say. But I don't feel like you can blame that then on Thomas Frank. Jake, Tottenham has played two of the toughest teams in the world in the last 2 games. And Villiers says, we should have got Glasner. I mean, do you think Glasner would have gone to Spurs over Palace? I don't know. Again, I think everything's geared up for him at Palace. It's a far better job at Palace than it is at Spurs right now. It's like that's a gargantuan task at Spurs to go in there and try and make them competitive. Whereas Palace, he's already got all of the tools he needs. The fans adore him. He's literally worshipped. I feel like if Oliver Glasner said, do you know how strong Oliver Glasner is at Palace? That if he said tomorrow, I don't want Adam Wharton anymore, and like Adam Wharton is there like jewel in the crown. I honestly think if Glasner was to say tomorrow, I'll stay, I'll sign a new contract, but I don't want him, Palace fans would be like, oh really? But okay, fine. Okay, fine. You've got to back the manager, and I just feel like it's the most important thing you've got to do as fans. You've got to always back the manager over players. Doesn't matter how good the player is, got to back the manager. 92 says, okay, sack every manager when they lose 3 or 4 games. That'll work out well. Yeah, well, exactly. Tielemans coming off here for Ross Barkley. Roscoe. MK says, my dream scenario is sack Frank and bring Ange back. Some Ted Lasso story. EFC Edit, you put us to get relegated and now you're below us. I still think you could do, mate. I still think you could get relegated. Absolutely. I didn't say, in fairness, I didn't say Everton would get relegated. I said you'd flirt with relegation this season. I still think you might do. I still think David Moyes might leave before the end of the season for what it's worth. Villiers says most Arsenal fans wanted Arteta sacked like 4 years ago. And to be honest, they've wanted Arteta sacked. Some of them have wanted him sacked for every year since, haven't they? He's had 6 years spending over £1 billion, double what some teams have, including Liverpool. Still hasn't won anything, but he's got time, he's got patience, and maybe some would argue that it's paid off. Phil Middleton, Key, I like the cut of your jib, kid. You chat so much sense. I've got to go to bed, up for work at 3 a.m. Hey, rather you than me, Phil. Have a good shift, kid. I'll see you next one. Take it easy, mate. James, if Isak had foresight, he'd have stopped where he was. Grass not always greener on the other side. What do you mean grass isn't always greener on the other side? Who do you think's got best chance of winning trophies in the next 3 years? Liverpool or Newcastle? I'll give you a clue. It ain't Newcastle. So no, he's not. Nothing's changed. Nothing's changed. Isak won't be regretting his decision at all, in the slightest. ESC Edit says we're 3 points off the Champions League. Yeah, and so's everyone else. Fucking hell. Villa are 4th in the Premier League. Jesus Christ, you can't... Everyone's... It's only November. Christ. We're only 2 points off the Champions League. I've never heard such nonsense. Sorry, 3 points you are, aren't you? Yeah, you're 3 points off the Champions League. So what? What's that got to do with anything? Sunderland are 2 points. Sunderland are 2 points. Is Sunderland going to get Champions League? Have Sunderland got a better chance of making Europe than you do? No, because none of you will. Tariq Rahim, it is my first game yesterday from Birmingham. Nice, good to see you, Tariq. And Jake says, young boys are so bad. Well, I'll be honest, this is justice, isn't it? This is absolute justice for what happened in the first half when we threw... You can't be throwing bottles at Donyell Marlin. Shocking, that. 3-star Reds, if we are talking top 5 European teams in the Premier League trophy ranking-wise at the moment, 1st Liverpool, 2nd Man United, 3rd Chelsea, 4th Forest, 5th City. And Sam, 3-star Reds, you should be beating us next Wednesday. Yeah, Forest against Wolves next Wednesday night. User says Sunderland most defo have a better chance of making Champions League than Everton. I know, but ultimately they still neither of them have a chance, do they? Like maybe Sunderland have a 1% chance and Everton have a 0.9% chance, but neither of them really have a chance. Alex says we Sunday key very confident on beating West Ham. Get behind the boys. Serious banter you got there, Craig. Nan's had an heart attack with laughter. Hey, the quality of bants on here is unbelievable. Lucas, how's it going, Lucas? What's going on, mate? Glad to see the channel growing. Thank you very much, sir. Really appreciate it. Good to have you on. We're on course for 600 games this year on the channel. More watch-alongs than anyone else. More variety, more games live every day. With two games today. We've got Villa, Strasbourg v Palace coming up after this. Tomorrow we're doing Oxford against Ipswich. And then back to the Premier League this weekend. Albeit we're going to win a Championship game. Early game on Saturday. There is no early Premier League game on Saturday, so I'm going to do a Championship game. I'm not sure which one yet. To be honest, I could even do Stockport. I might do Stockport. Stockport did well, didn't they? Well, struggled against Posh, but could do Stockport. Could do Leicester against Sheffield United. That'd be a decent game, wouldn't it? Leicester, Sheffield United. We'll see. But yeah, thanks, Lucas. Good to see you as always, mate. Hopefully you're doing well. MK says, I've got another question, Key. If Frank doesn't win comfortably v Fulham on Saturday, is he gone? No. No. Why are you insistent on sacking managers? Here's Villa. Chance. Oh, they let it down. It's been a poor second half, this, in terms of entertainment. It's been really difficult to watch, to be honest. Young boys just giving chance after chance away. Timbo says, the man said define young and is now watching young boys. It's come full circle. Hey, I used the word Vaseline earlier in this stream, believe it or not. In an inappropriate context, people could get the wrong idea, but I did use the word Vaseline in this live. I was talking about a player's cut, because Donyell Marlin got smashed on the head with a cup thrown from the stands, and it caused a cut. And I said, I think maybe someone might have put a bit of Vaseline into the cut just to stop it bleeding. But, you know, I didn't expect this to be speaking about these things on a live like this. Jake says, West Ham are shocking, so we should beat them. And Alex says, Anfield agenda a joke. Listen, I don't watch him. I don't watch him. Lucas says, yeah, do Stockport. That's where I'm from, mate. Nice. Dave Challoner. Has he still got your full backing? even after that Peterborough performance. Oh, here we go. Chance for Villa. Should be 3. Oh, cleared away. Unlucky. And Young Boys now on the counter. Timbo, I have to ask this once a stream key. Do you still not rate Esteval? What do you mean do I not rate him? That's such a poor question from you. You're so more intelligent than that, mate. Don't be saying things like that. Because I've not said at any point that I don't rate the kid. I've not said he's not a good player or anything like that. What I've said is, I don't think he's like the best in the world or anything. He's not like Lamine Yamal. He's just a good quality, talented young player who over the next few years will get better and better, I'm sure. But there's certainly still concerns about him in some aspects, and other aspects you look at him and think, wow, he's got a lot of raw talent, but there's been plenty of Brazilian wide players we've seen over the years, not even just Brazilian, South American in general, and plenty of South American flair players we've seen over the years who maybe haven't kicked on in the way we thought they would. User 051 says Esteval is a top player, especially for his age. That's what I said, in fairness. I said for his age. That's all. That's all I said. He's a good player. He's a good player for his age. But that doesn't satisfy some fans. Some fans want he's the best thing ever. He's basically Messi. We should, let's just acknowledge that he's the best player ever. And MK13 says, "Oh yeah, Key. What about Slot? Thoughts on his job security? I don't want him. I don't want him sacked. I don't want him sacked. That's it." User 051 says, "Nan's lost the plot with Slot. She's throwing coins in the radiator, saying drop zone 4." Oh, I love a bit of tipping point. Free kick here for Villa. Sancho, Martin and Buendia over it. Sancho's going to take it. Great free kick. Martin, good chance. Should be. Oh, hit it. I want him to stick like 4 or 5 past these. And then they can run over to the away fans and be like fully in their face giving them stick. Because they're proper knobheads, these Swiss. In the nicest possible way. These are proper knobheads, these fans. Timbo, you were criticising him loads one stream, which is why I always ask the question now. Yeah, I criticised him in the West Ham game because he cost Chelsea a goal. He literally cost Chelsea a goal. 92FC says, if not most fans had their way, teams would have 3 or 4 managers a season. Exactly, yeah. If it was put down to a democracy, most fans would literally sack their manager every week, wouldn't they? Hey, how's it going, Liam? Good to see you. And MK says, fair enough, but what do you say is the limit? 6 out of 6 in the next 2 games? What do you mean, what do I say is the limit? Like, do we have to win both of our next 2 games? No, I haven't really got an answer for you. Like, obviously, at some point, results have to come into it, and he's ultimately responsible for getting Liverpool out of the situation they're in. He's the manager, it's his job, and ultimately managers pay the price for the results on the pitch. But, like, I feel like context has been missed. Do you know what I mean? Like, Rio Ferdinand tried to do this. In midweek. He was saying, oh, young boys are in here. It's 2-1. It's 2-1. It's game on. Oh, young boys have scored. Tolga, he's going to be made. I tell you what, if Villa throw this away now, oh, I'm not even a Villa fan. I'll be furious if you throw this away now. After the way they've acted all game. Oh, it's so poor. He's onside. There's no question about it. It's a great ball. Down the flank. Bohada is shocking. Ball across. He's onside as well. And Bedia with a goal. 2-1. Villa 2, Young Boys 1. They're back on. The game's back on. The game is on. Lindelof couldn't get back. And it was a tap-in the end. Timbo says, Key enthusiastically saying young boys are in here. Jay says can't see him lasting to the end of the season. Listen, it has to. He has to. I don't want him gone at all. I think he has to stay till at least next year. Mr. Luke Etherington, what's next for Slot after losing 4-1 to PSV last night? What's next for him? Hopefully, West Ham and the rest of the season. At the end of the day, a manager has never dealt with what Arne Slot is having to deal with right now. Like, there is no precedent to manage against that, to measure against. He's dealing with something no other manager has had to deal with before. The expectations of having to compete on all four fronts while dealing with the loss of a player, it's literally never happened before. It's never happened. Why is this still being checked? Why on earth is this still being checked? It's a long check. This could be 2-1, but it's a very, very long check here. I'm really surprised if this one gets ruled out. Honestly, the referee... It's a long old check, and I've got to say, whenever the check is this long, it's usually no goal. Offside, no goal. Offside, no goal. Oh, Tolga. Offside. Oh. Mr. Luke Etherington says, which club in the Premier League will take Samu? Well, Spurs apparently have been linked with him, haven't they? Samu Omarodion from Porto. Big, bustling centre-forward, strong as an ox, very quick, decent finisher. The only thing I think with Samu is he's not particularly... I want to say graceful is the word, I guess. He's a rough diamond. He's not very polished. Let's say that. Yeah, he's not very polished. And he's still young, so obviously there's time for him to adapt. But he's big and he's strong and he's really good at holding the ball up and he'll spin and run in behind and he can score all different types of goals. But yeah, his movement, he's offside quite a bit. His use of the ball sometimes is a little bit chaotic. That's probably one of the best words to describe Samu, is chaotic. And I don't think he's someone that teams would be rushing to spend 60 million on, which is probably what you'd have to pay to get him out of Porto. But his goal record in Portugal's, very, very good. Very strong. I actually think if you were going to go and sign a player like that, you'd go and get Francolino. Francolino from Midtjylland. He's a very similar profile to Samu. Absolutely brilliant. You could go and get him for 20 million quid from Midtjylland. He's just as young, might even be younger. Got a fantastic goal record. He is the next star in the Premier League as far as I'm concerned. That's so unfair, that though. As much as I don't like young boys, the team, BSC young boys, as much as I don't like them, I've got to say, I don't think that one was offside. I think that was harsh. Goal for Celtic, 3-1. And Ben says Shaquille Van Persie has just come on for his dad for his debut. Bloody hell. Robin Van Persie's just put his boy on and there's a goal. But to who, Chris Kamara? Ginga, how's it going? Good to see you, mate. Evening, K. You well? I am very, very well, sir. I am still disappointed and gutted about last night. Still trying to wrap my head and my thoughts and process everything that's happening and going on. But I'm good, mate. I'm really good. Hopefully you are too. 92FC says, what cup did West Ham win in the Euro Sunday League? What cup did West Ham win in the Euro Sunday League? Is that a pop at the Conference League? Timbo, don't worry, Key. It would be worse if you did like young boys. Yes. That was the thing. I scribbled it down. It's actually on the wall here in the background. You can't see it off camera. Things not to say tonight. Don't mistakenly say. that sentence because it'll get clipped up. I've got a creaky floorboard beneath me, and I've had people sending me memes all day of me farting, even though I've not farted. Just to be very clear, I didn't fart in last night's live. I literally just stood on the floorboard beneath me. That's it. I did that while I was talking, and someone went, "We've just heard Key fart in 4K." But yeah, I had memes and everything sent. Liz says, Key, have you seen the stat in terms of this is Liverpool's worst run of form in over 70 years or something? Yeah, 1954 it is, mate. Villa, chance, cleared away. And Ginga says, I bet Virgil van Dijk doing his best rendition of Steps Reach for the Stars will do that to you. I still can't understand why he did that. What a mad, stupid thing to do that is. Nick says, Chelsea are getting spread wider than Bonnie Blue on Sunday. It's not a thought I wanted, a level here. Timbo, how have we got here? And Lissa says, and you still don't think this is worse than Roy era? It categorically isn't worse than the Roy Hodgson era. Yeah, it categorically isn't, mate, I promise you. And there's context. This is the thing. I don't know if it's just willful ignorance. I assume, because you're a United fan, you enjoy Liverpool's downfall. But you're an intelligent lad, mate. You know that there's context and there's nuance to football. For the same reason you don't want Amorim sacked and he's lost, whatever, 30 games? Has Amorim lost like 30 games this year? But you as a United fan don't want him sacked, right? So, yeah, there's context, there's nuance, there's reasons. And Arne Slaughter absolutely should not be getting sacked as Liverpool manager. Not a chance. Waterbrew says, swear we got relegated last time our form was this bad. We got relegated after 1954. I'm pretty confident we got relegated. When was the last time? It was 60s. I'm sure we got relegated in the 60s. I'm sure we did. I'll have to check that. But yeah, I'm sure we did get relegated. So our form has been better and we've still got relegated. What we're saying says, Timbo, Chelsea fans are harsher on our manager than United and Liverpool despite him doing a better job at the minute. Do you know what it is with Chelsea, right? So that's your culture. I feel like Chelsea's culturally accepted that they sack managers and move managers on because you've done that pretty consistently since Roman Abramovich came in. And do you know what? Even before that, when I think back to, you know, you had Ruud Gullit, and Claudio Ranieri. Was Claudio Ranieri straight after Ruud Gullit? There was like a load of managers in quick succession. I'm talking earlier than... Hang on a minute. I feel like I'm missing someone. Vialli. Of course it was Vialli. No, so you had Hoddle, Gullit, Vialli, like all within the space of 2 years. Hoddle, Gullit and Vialli in a 2-year period in the mid-90s. You then had Ranieri, Mourinho, Grant within a 3-year period. So you've had like 3 managers in 2 years, 3 managers in 3 years. You then had Luis Felipe Scolari, Gus Hiddink, Ancelotti, Andre Villas-Boas, Roberto Di Matteo, Rafa Benitez and Jose Mourinho. That's a 7-manager spell in 5 years. So Chelsea have like forever been built on you sack managers like every 12 to 18 months. Going back as far as I can remember, my entire life watching football, Chelsea have sacked managers every 18 months. It just is what it is. That is your club. Liverpool don't do that. We've never done that. We've always had managers who've stuck around for like bare minimum 3-4 years. Like Evans, Benitez, you know, Klopp was there for 10 years. That kind of skews it a little bit. But Brendan Rodgers was there for a little while. Benitez was there for Julio. Like, these are managers who we had for a good sustained period. Young boys must be. Good block. Really good defending that from Lindelof. Timbo says, this is very true. We're used to managers going quickly, so we're reluctant to become too attached. And that's it. That's how it is. Chelsea get very attached to the player, not the manager. And that's why you annoy me as a football club. And that's why your question about Estevao, I can't understand it every time you ask. Because I'm like, the manager, I couldn't give a toss. Like, the manager, not in a dismissive way, but you know what I'm getting at. Like, when you say, it feels like Chelsea are wedded to the players. That's why Chelsea over-egg players an awful lot more than other clubs, in my opinion. And it's not even just a Chelsea thing. It is maybe a London thing, because Arsenal are the same. And Spurs, to some degree. But at least there's a little bit more stability with Spurs. There hasn't been recently. But historically, there's maybe a touch more stability with Spurs than there is with Chelsea. And there's a little bit more stability with Arsenal than there is with Chelsea. But yeah, and then even if you go back, more recently, Conte, Sarri, Lampard, Tuchel, 4 managers in 4 years, Potter, 5 in 5, and Pochettino, 6 in 6. So, like, you can just consistently, it is literally one every 12 to 18 months with Chelsea. With Enzo Maresca, he has been there now for 18 months, I guarantee you. It doesn't last. I think by next Christmas, Enzo Maresca isn't in a job. He isn't, is he? Enzo Maresca is sacked by before Christmas 2026. He is gone. Adam says Carlo Ancelotti getting sacked in the tunnel after winning a double the season before was brutal. And Timbo says Liverpool over-egged their managers in the same vein, to be fair. But that's probably true. That is, yeah. But Liverpool, that's what I'm saying. It feels like that's the disconnect is. And maybe it's a north-south a north-south divide thing as well. Because I feel like Newcastle are very much manager-centric. And Man United are very much manager-centric. And, clubs in the north typically are. Even City now. Honestly, I feel like if Pep Guardiola said he wanted things to happen and it involved getting rid of even like Erling Haaland, the club would be like, all right, fine. And the fans would be like, all right, fine. I don't like it, but fine. Yeah, manager wins. Manager absolutely wins. Whereas I feel like if Pep Guardiola was a Chelsea manager and Erling Haaland was a Chelsea player, Pep Guardiola would be losing his job before Haaland left the building. So that's the difference with those clubs, I feel. Carefree CFC says, annoyingly true. I love the manager, but our fans don't know how to support half the time. And Lisha says, but the thing with Amorim Key is that he's doing the opposite to what Slot is doing. Yeah, he is absolutely doing the opposite to what Slot is doing. He is doing something rigid. He is sticking to his formation rigidly, whereas Slot is changing it quite dynamically every other game. Amorim is the absence. Sorry, Slot is the absence of a system. Amorim is literally, he is wedded to that 5-2-3-1 or whatever system you want to call it. 3-5-2. Whatever way. The Christmas tree. Christmas pudding formation. What a brew, says Ian Callaghan joined us in 58 Div 2. By the time he left, he'd won everything. Loyalty, clubs, don't understand. Cali. What a player Ian Callaghan was, by the way. 3-star Red says the Europa League omens are looking good, Key. We beat Malmo in 79 European Cup final and beat Liverpool en route to the final at Anfield. Hey, that does bode well, doesn't it? Maybe Forest do get a win in Europe this year, and I did say I think you'd do quite well. You'd have maybe a run in Europe but struggle in the league, and that seems to be bearing fruit. Needless to say, I had the last laugh. Samo Bob, is Chelsea the only big club that is willing to throw managers out constantly? It kind of is, yeah, but it works. Like, I don't want to criticise Chelsea too heavily because they've been incredibly successful with that approach. It kind of flies in the face of everything we know as football fans, isn't it? Chelsea are a really unique and bizarre club in that sense because Roman Abramovich did not sort of suffer fools very long, did he? He sacked managers quite quickly, and that has continued under Todd Bowley, and that's just how Chelsea are now. They have this culture of, you come in, you're a manager for 18 months and we move you on. And that's been the case for 30 years. Literally averaging a manager every 18 months for 30 years. That is so unlike every other Premier League club. But Chelsea have won 2 European Cups. They have won Europa League. They've won a Conference League. They've won a FIFA Club World Cup. They've won FA Cups, League Cups, Premier League titles in that time frame. And that, I can't understand it. I can't wrap my head around it. I stay true to the principle that managers need time. However, if I'm looking at it, if I wanted to argue with myself, I would say, well, Chelsea are the proven example that that's not the case. Chelsea are absolutely the opposite of that, and they are still very successful. Carefree CFC says, sometimes I'm glad we can be ruthless, though. Imagine we had Ruben Amorim constantly bigging him up. And Lisha says, last season, never had his players and walked into a mess, and therefore the form now, he's backed and he's performing. Didn't look like you were performing on Monday night, Chief. Carefree CFC says, can this Strasbourg Palace game kick off now? Villa boring me here. 5 minutes left in this one. It's not been vintage Villa, I'll be honest with you. It's been a difficult night. The main sort of story of tonight is probably going to be those Young Boys fans, those Young Boys ultras in the away end who have given Daniel Marlin a cut on his head. They've thrown all sorts at Villa tonight, and I do mean that, not just figuratively. They have literally thrown everything at Villa tonight, and I'm pretty sure there will be a ban coming, not only for the individual that launched the glass of whatever it was at Marlin that smashed him on the back of the head and cut his head. I'm sure there will be a ban for him, but I'm pretty confident there'll also be repercussions for Young Boys, the team, as well. Full time, Feyenoord 1, Celtic 3. What an unbelievable win that is for Celtic at the Quip. Timbo says, we had players with such good mentalities, it allowed us to get away with not valuing managers. It doesn't probably work as well now. And Samoa Bob, it's insane when you say it like that. It's true. What a brew says, Footmob says that Wirtz is out till early March. Have you got any other info on this? Yeah, he's not out till early March, because the info that came out earlier today said he's probably going to be back for the West Ham game. So I think there might be a break in communication, but all of the established Liverpool news sources that I saw earlier said that Alisson is back for the West Ham game, Wirtz is back for the West Ham game, and up to now, Ekatike should be at least in the squad for the West Ham game. Timbo says, it's funny that Chelsea fans born 5 to 10 years apart will have grown up with 5 different managers each. This is it. It's mad, innit? It's crazy. I remember Chelsea with Glenn Hoddle. That was kind of the first Chelsea manager I really remember. And then obviously quickly transitioned into Ruud Gullit and Gianluca Vialli, then on to Claudio Ranieri, and then the Mourinho era starts when Abramovich comes in. Albeit the Abramovich era started under Ranieri, didn't it? I remember going to that the first proper game at Anfield with Chelsea. Liverpool played Chelsea at Anfield not long after Abramovich had come in, and you had Duff and Hasselbank and Crespo, and you beat us. It was shocking. I was gutted. Great goal. Oh, what a goal. Is that going to count? Is that going to count? Is he offside? No, Montero with a goal. It is a goal. Young Boys have scored. Finally. And I tell you what, I don't know why there's not such a rush to get this one dragged back. Is he offside? Again, the ref's going to check it. But if he gives a good bit of added on time here, Young Boys could still push on and get a point maybe. Is he onside? This is going to be the question. Does he time his run well enough? No, he's going to be off there. He's going to be off. I'm not even going to put it on. I'm going to take the score off because I'm telling you that's offside. That is definitely offside. It's a great finish though. Fabulous chest down. And Young Boys have now had 2 goals ruled out, both of which are incredibly tight. Incredibly tight. Lisha says, as you always say to me, one game doesn't define a player or a manager. No, it's very true. Very, very true. YNG, did you ever play football growing up and were you any good? I played it every week, mate. I still play it now, but was I any good? I mean, I'd like to think I was, but no, I probably wasn't very good. I played to an okay level, I guess. Like, I played like regularly every week for like my local team, but I wasn't very good. No, I was never like close to joining anyone. It was never like, oh, I had trials at Liverpool or anything like that. Nah, I was never that good. I was never that good. I just liked playing the game, but I was never that good. I reckon if you could, I still play now. I still play every Monday. Just can't move as quick now. Just lost the yard of pace now. Like Alexis McAllister. I reckon I'm still faster than Alexis McAllister though. Sir Carefree CFC says them fans were embarrassing, to be fair. Best they attacked all game. And Samoa Bob, did you watch the Slot press conference? Worth watching. No, I haven't seen the Slot press conference after. I've just seen that he talked about having conversations with the Liverpool hierarchy. They were asking him, have you spoke to... Oh, was it counted? I have still got it 2-0. That's counted in the end. Yeah, I have to say, he wasn't particularly confident in what he was saying. At least, it didn't seem to me like he had actually got the full backing of the owners. I still think he has, but maybe he just hasn't spoken to him yet. He didn't seem confident enough in saying, we are... Oh, Villa are in, should be 3. Shocking. And now, young boys on the counter-attack. I tell you what, if Villa throw this away now, I am going to be livid. Livid. And I'm not even a Villa fan. You can't throw this away against these. Not with them as fans. They've been absolute knobheads all night, them away fans. Timbo, Liverpool could have stopped us getting bought, lost to us in 03 to get Champions League. Oh, I fucking remember that game. Jesper Gronkiar, wasn't it? Jesper Gronkiar cut in from the left-hand side and smashed it in off the far post, Jersey Dudek. Fucking unbelievable. Yeah, you got Champions League football, we went in the UEFA Cup, and you got fucking Roman Abramovich. And I wouldn't mind, we went in the UEFA Cup, and do you know who we played that year? Marseille and Didier Drogba knocked us out. That's who knocked us out of Europe that year. And fucking Jose Mourinho went and bought him. So, we literally, not only did we let you get we didn't let you, but you got Champions League football by beating us. We also basically scouted your player for you. I tell you what, big chance here for young boys. Big chance. They've got all the players in the box. Villa cleared it away. 60 seconds it. How are Aston Villa up against this in this way? 60 seconds to go and they're really struggling. Mad Pup says, yes, Rangers are off the bottom of the table. And Jordan says, sick of these giving our fans a bad name. Timbo says, which meant Roman brought us instead of Spurs. I thought it was Fulham. Wasn't he going to buy Fulham? I thought it was Fulham. Sam Savini, are you still honouring? Yes, I am, mate. And Adam says, will the Liverpool board be as calm, patient and level-headed as Yuki? I certainly hope so. Listen, calm heads win the day. I always got taught that early doors. Never make any big decision when you're emotional. Ever. If you're emotional, you're too emotional, don't make any big decision. That's the one bit of life advice I would give you. If you're emotional, you don't make a big decision. So, right now, emotions are running high. Liverpool need to be calm, ice in the veins. Fire in the belly, ice in the veins. Whataburoo says walking football. No, not walking football. Not walking football, clever dick. Running football. And I've lost 5 stone, I'll have you know. Still need a little bit more needs to come off. But it's coming off. It's getting there. Adam says, are the players actively trying to get him sacked? That Van Dijk with handball was beyond silly. I certainly think there's 3 or 4 that might be, yes. There's 3 or 4 who have decided they're not going to be at the club next year. And as such, they are maybe not down in tools for the manager's sake. They're just down in tools. They're just, naturally, they're just not bothered. So I think that's, how it is. Unknown FRX says, I don't know how to handle these losses supporting Liverpool, mate. It just comes in time. I promise. I don't know how old you are, mate, but That's not to be patronising, but you learn how to deal with big bad losses. Like, I've seen Liverpool lose in the last minute of really big important games. I've seen us get beat at Old Trafford after playing really well and we lose in the last minute. You know, some really, really horrible, hurtful results where you go and your mates give you stick for weeks and weeks and weeks after it. You have them. It happens. And Liverpool are on a bad run right now. That, do you know what, actually? It's a bit unprecedented because there's nobody, maybe nobody alive, well, maybe not nobody alive, but you know what I mean. 1954 is the last time Liverpool went on a run like this. So chances are, anyone who was alive and watching Liverpool is at the very least 75 now. So there's a very small section of Liverpool fans who can say they remember that 1954-5 season. At an absolute push, they're probably 75, maybe late 70s. And I don't think they'll be on TikTok or YouTube. But it's, nobody will have seen that. But you just got to see how it goes. Sam says, is there something to be said for the team generally grieving Jota? Yeah, that is a factor. It's not the factor. It's not the reason. So nobody needs to roll their eyes and say, oh, he's blaming Jota. No, it's a factor at play. It's one of maybe 6 or 7 things that are causing Liverpool's downturn. Right, Villa. Christ, we've been talking about Liverpool all fucking night. Sorry, Villa fans. Villa 2-0. Good result. Really disappointing to see the away fans behave how they did. Really, really disappointing. But Young Boys lose the game 2-1. Thank God. Right, I am off. I am going to watch Strasbourg against Crystal Palace. Hopefully you'll join me. I will be back in literally 5 minutes. 5 minutes. If you haven't yet, make sure you've liked, make sure you followed, click up here, follow, subscribe on YouTube, click down here, Twitch, whatever you're watching this on. Make sure you've liked, followed and subscribed. I really appreciate it. I'm going to be back in 3 minutes for the Strasbourg against Crystal Palace game in the Conference League. See you shortly.